Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. We are studying the commentary of Bhagavadgita Shankaracharya on the fifth sutra of the Brahma Sutras. Now, Bhagavadgita Shankaracharya is setting aside the arguments presented by the Sankhya philosophers. He says, Yadapi Uktam Prag Utpattehe Brahmanaha Shariradi Sambandham Antarena Ikshitritvam Anupapannamiti Na Tat Chodyam Avatarati Savitri Prakashavat Brahmano Jnana Swarupa Nityatve Jnana Sadhana Apeksha Anupapattehe. So earlier, Sankhya philosophers had presented this argument that Prag Utpattehe. So Yadapi Uktam, what also has been said by the Sankhya philosophers. Prag Utpattehe, that means Utpattehe Prag, that means before the creation of this universe. Brahmanaha, of Brahman, Shariradi Sambandham Antarena, other than or because of Brahman not having any connection with body and so on. Body and so on means body, mind, sense of ego, and so on. That means Brahman does not have any connection with the causal body, Karana Sharira, or subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, or gross body, Sthula Sharira. So Brahman is not at all connected with any of these things before the creation of this universe. After the creation of universe also, it is not connected with any of these things, but because of ignorance, it appears as though Brahman is connected with bodies. So here, it is told by the Sankhya philosophers, or it was told, that because Brahman is not connected with bodies or body and so on, Ikshitritvam Anupapannam iti, that it is illogical that Brahman can have the faculty or the power of envisioning. Ikshitritvam. So Brahman cannot have the power of envisioning because it is not connected with the body and so on. It is not connected with body, mind, etc. For envisioning something, it is necessary that one has a body, mind, and so on. So it is not logical that Brahman before the creation of the universe, because Bahusya Prajayeti, Bahusyam Prajayeti, that is what is envisaged by Brahman. That is Tadaikshata, it envisaged or it envisioned, etc. It saw or it thought. So because there was no connection with bodies, that thing is not plausible, it is not logical that Brahman has this faculty of ikshitritva, that is envisioning. Now, so for that, Advaita philosopher answers, no, that is not true. Tat chodyam avatarati. That is not true. Why it is not true? Because that is now explained why it is not true. Tat chodyam avatarati. This objection is now being explained. Savitri prakashavat, just like sun has light, just like the light of Savitri means sun. Brahmanaha jnana swarupa nityatve jnana sadhana apeksha anupapattehe. Just like sun has always got light, similarly, Brahman also is of the form of knowledge and eternally is of the form of knowledge. Jnana Swarupa Nityatve, because of it being eternally of the nature of knowledge. So that is why Jnana Sadhana Apeksha Anupapate. It is quite illogical to expect or to say that there is a want of means of knowledge. So even to expect means of knowledge for Brahman is illogical, because knowledge is the constant or eternal form of Brahman. Just like if somebody were to say that sun has to be illumined, it will be illogical, because sun itself has illumination and it illumines itself. Similarly, Brahman, because it is constantly knowing, it is of the nature of knowledge eternally. Always it is of the nature of knowledge. Because it is eternally the nature of knowledge, that is why to ask that there should be a means of knowledge for Brahman is illogical. Anupapattehe. Apicha, also further, avidyadi mataha samsarinaha shariradi apeksha jnanotpattihi syat. Also, avidyadi mataha, one who is endowed with ignorance. That means one who is ignorant. Avidyadi. Avidyadi means the other things which are included in avidya, like avidya, abhinivesha, ahankara, etc. So all these causes of bondage. That is why avidyadi. Avidyadi means avidya and so on. Samsarina, avidyadi mataha. The samsarina, or the jiva, which is in the transmigratory cycle, caught in the cycle of repeated birth and death, that jiva, which is having avidya, ahankara, abhinivesha, and so on, for that particular jiva, shariradi apeksha jnana utpattihi syat. Jnana utpatti, or the production of knowledge, is dependent upon shariradi apeksha, body and so on. Body and so on means, that's what we already saw, body, mind, prana, etc. So subtle body, causal body, and gross body. So it is dependent on different kinds of bodies, the production of knowledge. For a sansarina, for sansari, for a person who is caught in the transmigratory cycle of birth and death, for that person, body is necessary, or body is desired, expected for production of knowledge. Na jnana pratibandha karana rahitasya ishwarasya. However, that is not the case for jnana pratibandha karana rahitasya ishwarasya, of Ishvara, who is free, rahita, who is free, rahita, from jnana pratibandha karana, from causes or factors which are obstacles to knowledge, hindrances to knowledge. So as far as the Ishvara is concerned, Ishvara does not have all the factors which hinder knowledge. And so Ishvara does not need a body. It is because we are hindered by ignorance that we need a body to get knowledge. But of course, this knowledge is not the knowledge of Brahman. For the knowledge of Brahman to be got, we have to transcend our attachment with the bodies. But as far as Ishvara is concerned, Ishvara, because Ishvara is much higher in one's closeness to knowledge. So here Ishvara word is used because Brahman as seen from a ignorance level, as seen from an ignorance level. That is why Ishvara word is used. So actually Brahman does not need, if we say Brahman does not need body also, it makes equal sense here. Brahman does not need body. It will make equal sense. So why? Because Brahman does not have, or Ishvara does not have the obstacles to knowledge. That is why it does not need body. Mantraucha imau Ishvarasya Sharira adi anapekshatam anavarana jnanatam cha darshayatah. So now what is being quoted? From this quotation, we can understand. Darshayatah, it is shown. What is shown? Mantrau cha imau. These two mantras, they show Ishvarasya Shariradi anapekshatam. The non-dependence of, or the lack of necessity of Sharira Adi, body and so on, for Ishvara. And Anavarana Jnanatam. And also Darshayatah, these two mantras show that Ishvara has jnana, which is anavarana jnana, means which is jnana which is uncovered, which has no covering. Darshayata, that they show. So there is no covering. So we have knowledge, our true nature is knowledge, Satchit Ananda Swarupa. But that knowledge is covered by ignorance. Whereas in the case of Ishvara, there is anavarana jnana. There is knowledge which is not covered, which is uncovered knowledge. Both the mantras are from the Shweta Sutra Upanishad. The first mantra is from the 6th chapter, 8th mantra, Shweta Sutra Upanishad. It is like this. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Na tat samaschabhyadikascha drishyate. Parasya shaktihi vividhaiva shruyate. Swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. Na tasya karya karanam cha vidyate. So it does not have karya, that is body, and karana, that is jnanendriyas, the senses of knowledge. It does not have. Na tat samaha cha abhyadikascha drishyate. There is nothing which is equal to it or more than it. So nothing is seen, drishyate, nothing is seen which is equal to that or more than that. Parasya shaktihi vividhaiva shruyate. So its power, shakti, that is Maya, and it is para, and it is shruyate, it is heard that it is vividha, it is multifarious, of various types. And also swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. And also it is heard, or it is known, that by nature, swabhaviki, by nature, It is Jnana Bala Kriya. It is the action which is produced by the power of knowledge. Jnana Bala. So that is its nature. So by nature, it produces action which is caused by power of knowledge, Bala of knowledge. This is from the Shvetashvatra Upanishad, 6th chapter. Then again, Shvetashvatra Upanishad, 3rd chapter, 19th mantra. Apani pado javano grahita pashyati achakshuhu sa shrinoti akarnaha sa veti vedyam nacha tasya asti veta tamahuhu agriyam purusham mahantam. Apani pado javano grahita. So it does not have pani, hands, it does not have feet, but javano grahita. So though it does not have hands, but it grahita, it accepts everything, it holds or grasps everything. Without hand, it grasps everything. And though it has no feet, it is fast, javana. It is very fast. Pashyati achakshuhu. It sees even though it has got no eyes. Shrunoti akarnaha. So the question here is, does Ishvara refer to personal God? No, it is not referring to personal God. It is referring to Ishvara as seen in Advaita Vedanta. That is Brahman when it is in its state of causal body. So in through Ajnana, when Brahman is in its causal body state, that is Ishvara. That is Ishvara. So here it is not personal God. It is the very first state of Brahman in ignorance. That is the state. So it is Achakshuhu. It does not have eyes, but it sees. Shrunoti Akarnaha. It does not have ears, but it hears. Saveti Vedyam. It knows Veti, Vedyam, that which has to be known. Nacha Tasya Asti Veta. But there is no one who knows it. Because it is the cause of everything, so there is no one who knows it, but it knows everything that has to be known. Tamahuhu Agryam Purusham Mahantam. It is called Agryam, means first, Purusham, Purush, embodied. That is, it is complete and it is Mahantam, it is great. Now again further, there is a objection. Nanu, no, we cannot accept this. Nasti tavad jnana pratibandha karana vani ishwaradanyah samsari na anyato asti drashta na anyato asti vijnata. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad iti shrute. Tatra kim idam uchyate samsarinah shariradi apeksha jnana utpattihi na ishwarasya iti. So nanu, we cannot accept this argument which you are giving, because tavad jnana pratibandha karana vani ishwaradanyah samsari nasti. Other than Ishvara, different from Ishwaradanyah, different from Ishvara, jnana pratibandha karanavan. There is no samsari or a jiva caught in the transmigratory cycle who is tavat jnana pratibandha karanavan, who is A person who causes obstacle, jnana pratibandhaka bandha karana. A person who causes obstacle to, or someone who causes obstacle to, hindrance to knowledge, like that, tavat, in such a manner, there is no samsari, transmigratory jiva in your philosophy. Why? Because you also quote, and also Shruti says, na anyato asti drashta, na anyato asti vijnata, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. That means, other than that, there is no seer, means the person who sees. Other than that, there is no knower. So if that is the case, tatra kimidam uchyate, then how can you say this? What? Samsarinah shariradi apeksha jnana utpattihi na ishvarasya iti. How can you say that only sansari requires for the production of knowledge, body and so on, not Ishvara? Because according to you, Ishvara only sees and Ishvara only knows. So nothing other than Ishvara, that is samsari, definitely cannot know. And other than Ishvara, there is no samsari. That is the whole point. There is no permanence, or there is no existence of a samsari which is other than different from Ishvara, because that is what we say, Brahma, Atma, Aikya. That means that is what you say. Sankhya philosopher says, that is what you say. You are saying that there is non-identity of Jiva and Brahma. If that is the case, how can the Ishvara be different from samsari? It is not possible. So if that is the case, how can you say that only sansari requires body, not Ishvara? Because quoting Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we have just shown that only Ishvara sees and Ishvara knows. Atra uchyate satyam. For that we are replying, yes, it is correct. What you are saying is correct. Na Ishvarad anyah samsari. Correct. What you are saying is correct. That the samsari, the transmigratory soul, is not different from Ishvara or Brahman. Brahman and the transmigratory soul are all same. It is correct. Tathapi, even then, dehadi sanghata upadi sambandha ishyate eva. Even then, ishyata, it is desirable. What is desirable? Dehadi sanghata upadi sambandha. The sambandha or the relation with the complex, sanghata, with the collection of deha adi, body and so on. The collection of body and so on. With dehadi sanghata upadi. Upadi is a limiting adjunct, it is called. Means something which is limiting the true nature of Brahman. That means that which is a kind of superimposition. That is called upadi. So, just like this upadi of body and so on, the group of upadis, the connection with that upadi is ishyata, is definitely desired, is ishyata. Ghatakara giri guhadi upadi sambandha iva vyomnaha. Just like vyomnaha or akasha. Akasha, it has got the connection, the sambandha, the relationship with ghata karaka. Ghata means pot. Karaka, kamandalu. Giri, guha, etc. Giri Guha means mountain, cave, Adi, and so on. Sambandha. So there is this space, but the space is differentiated by pot, by kamandalu, by a mountain, by a cave, etc. So the space is same. Inside the kamandalu, outside the kamandalu, inside the pot, outside the pot, inside the cave, outside the cave, as surrounded by the mountain and other than that. The space is the same. But these limiting adjuncts or these things limit space. Like they limit the area of space. Similarly, the connection of body and so on with Ishvara is desirable. Just like space is connected with Kamandalu, pot, mountain, and also cave, similarly, the connection of body and so on, that complex of body and so on, or the combination of body and so on, with Ishvara is desirable. Tatkritascha shabda pratyaya vyavaharo lokasya drishtaha. Also, we do see lokasya, people, shabda pratyaya vyavahara, using the shabda, that is the word, and also the pratyaya, the cognition of that word. So we tatkritascha, in this manner, we do see that people use different words and for purposes of giving different meanings or different cognitions. So like Gata Chidram means Ghatakasha, the space covered by Akasha. The space covered by Ghata, pot. Karakadi Chidram, Karakakasha means the space which is covered by Kamandalu, or which is defined or distinguished, differentiated by Kamandalu. And all these words, usage of these words and respective ideas produced by these words are seen in this world. And Ghata Chidram, Karakadi Chidram Ityadihi, Akasha Vyatireke Api, though they are different from space, Tatkrita cha Akashe, Ghatakashadi Bheda Mithya Buddhihi Drishta. Though all these words are used, like the space of the pot or the space of the Kamandalu, etc., though they are different from space, Kamandalu, pot, etc., are different from space, but Tatkrita Akasha, the Akasha which is connected with them, Ghatakashadi Bheda Mithya Buddhihi Drishta. We do see a false kind of cognition with respect to the space which is connected to the pot and the Kamandalu. We see a kind of a mithya, false cognition, mithya buddhi drishta. We do see this. So, tatha ihapi, similarly, here also, dehadi sanghata upadi sambandha aviveka krita ishvara samsari bheda mithya buddhihi. Here also, aviveka krita, caused by aviveka or ajnana. What is this caused? Dehadi sanghata upadi. The upadi or limiting adjunct, limiting characteristic of dehadi sanghata. the combination of body and so on. And so that because it is connected with this, ajnana or ignorance produces Ishvara and samsari, like that a false cognition. Ajnana produces a false knowledge of difference between Ishvara and samsari. So that was the objection. So there is no difference between Ishvara and samsari according to Advaita Vedanta. Then why do you say that for Ishvara body is not required, for samsari it is required? Because this differentiation between Ishvara and samsari is a false differentiation caused by ajnana, ignorance. Drishyate cha atmana eva satah dehadi sanghate anatmani atmatva abhiniveshah mithya buddhi matrena purva purvena. Drishyate cha, also it is seen. What is seen? Atmana eva satah dehadi sanghate anatmani atmatva abhiniveshah. So what is seen? That it is seen that dehadi sanghate anatmani, in the non-atman, not self, which is the group of body and so on. Body and so on. That is not self, that is not atman, it is anatman. But in that not self, atmatva abhiniveshah, we see the abhinivesha, the superimposition we can say, or the mistaking of abhinivesha, the entering of atmatva, the self or atman, in things which are not atman. So mistaking things which are not atman to be atman, that we see. And that is seen mithya buddhi matrena purva purvena. It is seen that it is because of mithya buddhi, false cognition, which is purva purvena, which is continuing for some time. It is not suddenly happened. So it is purva purvena, means it is continuing for some time. So atmana eva sato, in the atmana eva sato, atma of atma, the connection of atma, like this mistaking atma to be body and so on, a group of body and so on. And that connection, that is caused by false cognition. Sati cha evam samsaritve dehadi apeksham ikshitritvam upapannam samsarinah. Sati cha evam samsaritve. So because such a limiting adjunct of samsaritva, the state of samsari is there, dehadi apeksham ikshitritvam upapannam samsarinah. For one who is a sansari, that is one who is caught in the repeated cycle of birth and death, there, of course, dehadi apeksham ikshitritvam, the act of ikshitritva, that is the act of envisioning or thinking, etc., is upapanna, is quite logical for a sansari. For a sansari. Yadapi uktam, also what has been said earlier, this is again an objection which was given by the Sankhya philosophers. Yadapi uktam, what also has been said, pradhanasya anekatmakatvat mridadivat karanatva upapattihi na asamhatasya brahmana iti tat pradhanasya ashabdatvenaiva pratyuktam. Pradhanasya anekatmakatvat. So, because pradhana is manifold, it is of various forms. Therefore, mridadivat karanatva upapattihi. Just like mrida, mrit, adi, just like clay, etc. Pradhana has got various forms. And so, karanatva upapattihi na asamhatasya brahmana iti. So the objection earlier raised by the Sankhya philosophers was, since pradhana is having various forms, it does stand logical that pradhana may be the cause of this universe. Other than asamhata brahmana, that means Brahman which is not attached, which is alone, asamhata brahmana. So Brahman which is not attached, that Brahman, rather than that non-attached Brahman being the cause of the universe, it makes more sense that pradhana, which is of so many forms, should be the cause of the universe. Tat pradhanasya ashabdatvenaiva pratyuktam. So that we have already set aside this argument that pradhana has got many forms, so it should be the cause of the universe. We have set aside how pradhanasya ashabdatvenaiva pratyuktam. We have countered, we have replied to this objection by telling that pradhana is not shabda, means it is not told by the Shruti. So Vedas don't say that pradhana is the cause of the universe, and so ashabda. It is not told by the Shruti. So by that itself, by that argument itself, we have pratyuktam, we have answered this objection. Yatha tu tarkena api brahmana eva karanatvam nirvodhum shakyate na pradhanadinam tatha prapanchi ishyati na vilakshanatvad asya iti eva madina. Also, brahmana eva karanatvam. Brahman alone is the cause of the universe. Na pradhanadinam. So this Brahman alone is the cause of the universe, that yathatu, just like tarkena api, even by argument or even by logic. Even by logic, the way Brahmana eva karanatvam nirvodhum shakyate, the way one can establish nirvodhum shakyate, establish, it's possible to establish, the way it is possible to establish that Brahmana eva karanatvam, Brahman alone, tarkena api, the way it is possible to establish by tarka also, that Brahmana eva karanatvam. Brahman alone is the cause of the universe. That we can, by tarka means by argument or by logic. By logic also we can prove that Brahman alone is the cause of the universe. Just like we can do that, we cannot do the same thing as regard with pradhana. So it is not possible for us to prove that pradhana is the cause of the universe using logic. It is not possible for us to prove that pradhana is cause of the universe using logic. Pradhana adinam, pradhana adinam, pradhana and so on. That means pradhana or any other principle, we cannot prove that that is the cause of the universe. Just as easily we can prove that Brahman is the cause of the universe. Why? Tatha prapancha yishyati. That we will explain. Prapancha yishyati, we will explain in the future. Na vilakshanatvad asya. With the sutra, na vilakshanatvat asya, it is not, because it is not very distinct. This is not very distinct like that. There's no distinctness of this. Iti evam madina. So, sutra starting from this, it will be explained in detail. So here we stop it. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.